Welcome to another explainer. Look, if you're a focused learner trying to completely demystify Cambridge Information Technology 9626, you've landed in the exact right spot. Think of today as pulling off the perfect heist, but instead of a bank, we're cracking the code of the examiner's playbook. We are taking an absolute insider's look at Topic 3.1, monitoring patients using sensors. Now, we are just going to sit here and list off what these sensors do. That's what everyone else does. Instead, we are literally decoding the secret language of the mark scheme to get you those maximum points. It's time to assemble your cognitive strategy and pull off the perfect answer.
So, here's the big question. Why do students consistently lose marks on patient monitoring questions? I mean, this topic appears in almost every single examination series. You might be sitting there thinking, hey, I know what a temperature sensor is, I've got this. But honestly, that is exactly the problem. This assessment requires so much more than just memorizing basic hospital equipment like a rookie. It requires deep, strategic, analytical thinking. You can't just overload your answers with raw facts and ignore the analysis. Today, we are fixing those blind spots. And hey, before we dive into the exact strategy, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, here is our mental roadmap for today. 1. The theoretical foundation. 2. Systematic technical methodology. 3. The deconstruct, solve, and evaluate framework. And finally, 4. Top examiner warnings.
Let's jump straight in to Section 1, the theoretical foundation. When you're sitting in that exam hall, the clock is ticking, you need to remember one crucial rule. Cambridge prioritizes logical reasoning over a simple textbook definition. Analytical depth is always greater than superficial breadth. Your answer absolutely needs to rest on precise definitions, clear causal relationships, and cross-topic connections. Let me give you an example. If a patient's temperature drops, you can't just say, the sensor notices it's cold. No way. How does that analog sensor data interact with the network? How is it transmitted securely? What kind of actuator responses are triggered in the hospital's climate control system? That level of depth is your blueprint for success. That's what gets you the top grade. And this brings us to what we call the method mark strategy. I really want you to treat these IT questions almost like a complex math problem. Examiners don't just want you to jump to the final answer. They want to see the journey. It's about showing you're working. How does continuous analog data from a light sensor actually get converted via an analog to digital converter? And then, how is it compared to a preset parameter in the microprocessor? If you can explicitly show that multi-stage process on the page, you are going to capture those elusive method marks that other students leave on the table. Let's move on to Section 2, Systematic Technical Methodology. This is your procedural framework.
This right here is the exact standardized sequence examiners want to see executed. First up, identify the key elements. Which specific sensors are measuring what? Second, apply the relevant principles of how the IT system actually processes that data. Third, execute the analysis by walking the examiner through the data flow step by step. You can even apply the Peel framework here. Point, evidence, explanation, link to make absolutely sure your logic is airtight. Fourth, verify the results for any anomalies. And fifth, present it all in the appropriate format. If you memorize this specific sequence, I promise you'll never freeze up on a scenario again. Oh, and speaking of not freezing up, stop scrolling. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. We've helped thousands of students improve by 2 to 3 grade boundaries. Join them right now by subscribing to @acetheexams_IGCSE and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly exam strategy sessions. Now, it doesn't stop at just following those steps. The practical application of this methodology develops what Cambridge officially refers to as professional skills. When you apply the correct formats, use highly specific IT terminology, and evaluate system performance, you're basically signaling to the examiner that you truly understand the subject like a seasoned professional. So please, don't write "the computer reads the heat." That's rookie stuff. Instead, say "the microprocessor processes the continuous digital data stream from the temperature sensor." That precise technical terminology is heavily rewarded. All right, Section 3, deconstruct, solve, evaluate. Let's look at critical analysis. If you want to transform your answer from a standard passing grade to an acing top-tier grade, you absolutely need a problem-solving strategy. Now, the first 3 steps are pretty standard: identify, break into logical steps, and solve. But I need you to focus heavily on steps 4 and 5, checking for reasonableness and making justified recommendations. Let's say a pressure sensor on a hospital bed suddenly reads 0. A basic student just writes, "the patient left the bed."
But a top-tier student, they question the reasonableness. They ask, wait, did the sensor fail? Is there a transmission collision on the network? And then they actually recommend a justified solution. That is where the highest marks live. And listen, this isn't just my opinion. Check out this direct quote straight from the principal examiner's report. Top-scoring candidates demonstrate evaluative thinking by questioning assumptions, considering different perspectives, and justifying decisions with evidence. Let that sink in. Examiners are actively hunting for critical thinkers who can evaluate a system's real-world reliability. They do not want robots just reciting textbook definitions.
Finally, we reach Section 4, Top Examiner Warnings. You need to know these to protect your grade. What you're seeing here brilliantly illustrates the absolute golden rule of Cambridge IT exams. A generic answer just recites facts about how a light sensor works. It's a total brain dump, and honestly, it gets minimal marks. A top answer, however, links the sensor directly to the specific scenario. If the exam prompt is about monitoring an incubator for a premature baby, you literally cannot just talk about light sensors in a generic room. You must explain how the light sensor regulates the specific environment for that baby, constantly interacting with actuators to adjust the heat lamps. You have to link every single point to the given context. No exceptions. I need you to commit these top 3 examiner alerts to memory right now. Alert 1. Using the wrong approach for the wrong context. For example, don't prescribe a pressure sensor when a humidity sensor obviously makes more sense for a respiratory patient. Alert 2. Forgetting to check format and presentation. Always use professional terminology and clear, logical steps. And Alert 3. Providing generic, non-specific answers. Never give an answer that could apply to a random greenhouse when the question is specifically about a hospital ward. By simply avoiding these 3 common traps, you are going to automatically elevate your mark potential. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question. When you sit down tonight to practice past papers, are your answers truly linked to the specific scenario? Or are you just reciting facts? Challenge your own preparation methods starting today. Apply the method mark strategy, demand contextual depth from yourself, and you won't just pass Topic 3.1. You will master it. Look, students who implement these strategies see an average improvement of 2 grade boundaries, but only if they practice consistently. Here's your final reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, AC Exams, at @AC_Exams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Subscribe right now to @AC Exams_IGCSE and click that bell. Don't let another exam pass you by. Drop a comment below with your target grade and the biggest challenge you're facing right now. Our team responds to every comment. Like and share this with a study partner. Ace the Exams. Your Cambridge success starts here. See you next time.